Sunday at 7:15.
Oh, Coronation Street's all right. Mind, there's some you'll have to watch. I sometimes wish you were more like them Barlows.
Then at 7:50.
Very agonising travel.
It'll be all right on the night, 6. Then at 9:10, come home Charlie and face them.
We could really bust out of this town with enough dough to make the biggest splash you could ever dream of.
A story of lust and greed, Sunday on ITV.
I've got a miracle feeling, everything's going
In this beautiful world of ours, it's comforting to know that all new Polos come with a catalytic converter which reduces toxic exhaust fumes by up to 90%. The new Volkswagen Polo. Cars don't come any cleaner.
Just 4 days to go.
Offers for shares in the 12 regional electricity companies close 10 a.m. Wednesday, December the 5th.
Love is the greatest thing, the oldest yet, the latest thing. I only hope that fate may bring love story to you.
Le Piador.
A bit of luxury for Aunt Jane. Perfume for Cousin Kate. A toy for little Tommy. What a blooming good idea for young Freddie. I've even got something for the old dear. There's a Christmas present for everybody at Boots.
Hello, this is the Pottery. I'm not here right now, but...
It's always worth taking time for that smooth, delicious Kenco flavor. Because more than 60 years of Kenco's coffee-making experience have now gone into perfecting their freeze-dried coffee.
Hello, this is the Pottery.
So, take your time over Kenco coffee. We have.
A crisp, rich chocolate flavor coating, luscious vanilla ice cream, and through the middle, the bubbles in the sky. Sky is the new choc bar experience from Walls. You can get carried away by the bubbles in the sky.
Sunday at 2:55 on ITV. Join us for exclusive coverage of Arsenal versus Liverpool, a soccer classic.
Live on Sunday, only on ITV.
Worldwide on December the 1st, we stop and think about AIDS. The World Health Organization's World AIDS Day. It's not just a man's problem, women get it too. A special night of television starts with Alison.
I'm 23 years old, and I have AIDS.
The bold TV movie An Early Frost, the first ever to tackle AIDS. Silent Screen, Hollywood and the AIDS crisis. And the global impact of AIDS. World AIDS Day is for you, tonight on ITV.
This is YTV. It's almost 10:15, time for the news. The news from ITN. Iraq says it's willing to talk peace with Washington. Tunnelers shake hands as Britain meets France beneath the Channel. Dennis does the shopping for the Thatchers of Dulwich. And the goal that put Crystal Palace third in Division 1. Good evening. Iraq has accepted America's offer of peace talks on the Gulf crisis. A statement from Iraq's ruling Revolutionary Council, led by Saddam Hussein, said Iraq will endeavour to follow up and broaden any window for dialogue rather than the language of threats. President Bush yesterday said he was sending his Secretary of State, James Baker, to Baghdad and inviting the Iraqi Foreign Minister to Washington in a last bid for peace.
Tonight, America's senior diplomat in Baghdad, Joe Wilson, set off for Iraq's foreign ministry to deliver the official invitation to talk.
Clearly, it's to follow up on the president's initiative last night.
Earlier, the government here had been complaining they'd only heard of the offer through the media. From the tone of Iraq's own television media, it was clear the president had made up his mind. The newscaster quoted from the Quran that when your enemy talks of peace, you should do the same. But Saddam Hussein's acceptance of the olive branch was tempered with the usual rhetoric. He accused the United States of arrogance and, not to be outdone, set his own conditions. Like America, he would also invite ambassadors of his choice, and Palestine would form the center of any dialogue. Interestingly, there was no mention of Kuwait. But diplomats here tonight believe President Saddam has no option but to agree to talks. On the streets, the atmosphere had already changed. A massive anti-American demonstration due to have taken place outside the United States Embassy was suddenly moved by official order. The tone, more muted than usual, suggested an easing of tension. As Iraq remembered its war dead at the Dome of the Martyrs, there was another significant sign of intent from both sides. The American chargé d'affaires unexpectedly joining Britain's Harold Walker and other Western ambassadors to pay their respects. Subtly, the protagonists are paving the way for peace talks. The Iraqis, who lost 250,000 soldiers fighting Iran, know it could be their last hope of averting another crippling war. Jeremy Thompson, ITN, Baghdad.
One of the commanders of the multinational force in the Gulf has been to see Britain's desert rats in action. The Saudi prince, Khalid bin Sultan, joined them on exercise. He said he hoped Saddam Hussein would come to his senses.
For the soldiers in this remote desert camp, the arrival of the Saudi prince was seen as a vote of confidence in Britain's military commitment. Prince Khalid is the commander of all forces in Saudi Arabia, trained at Sandhurst, a military leader who needs no evidence that Britain can fight in the desert. But evidence he got as the 7th Armoured Brigade pounded positions in the distance. Prince Khalid watched from the lead Challenger tank as men from 21 Engineer Regiment bridged ditches similar to those dug by the Iraqis around Kuwait City. Morale among the desert rats is without doubt high. Prince Khalid promising that Saudis will fight and, if necessary, die alongside them.
That's the least we can do to our friends and our brothers. That if there is any bloodshed, I can assure you, Saudi forces will be the first to take it.
The British message to the Saudi prince is clear. They're ready to be part of any armoured thrust into central Kuwait. And today's exercise has shown that while diplomacy is underway elsewhere, in the desert, they're preparing ceaselessly for war. Robert Moore, ITN, in eastern Saudi Arabia.
For the first time since the Ice Age, it was possible today to walk from Britain to the continent. Just after 11 o'clock this morning, engineers joined the two sides of the Channel Tunnel, allowing a stream of people to make the historic journey from one side to the other. ITN's science editor Lawrence McGuinty was the only British journalist underground to witness the moment of breakthrough.
At 12 minutes past 11 this morning, we watched French tunneler Philippe Cosette pick up his drill. On the other side of the wall of chalk only a few inches thick, his British counterpart, Graham Fagg, was drilling too. We knew they were making history, watched live on ITV, by breaking through the wall between the British and French sides of the tunnel. They're through. They're through. They're through. Hey! There's the handshake we've all been waiting for, Mr. Fag and Mr. Cosette. The French Transport Minister and assembled VIPs applauded as the two tunnellers exchanged national flags. Watched by a large crowd at the surface on video, they widened the hole until they could walk through.
Big day for both of us.
As the champagne flowed in probably the biggest ever underground party, the entente was very cordial.
I think that we're definitely moving closer and closer together. I think we've got to, actually.
And the tunnel itself, what kind of future do you think that faces now?
Quite honestly, I think it will be a financial success.
More workers piled through the gap, the financial problems of the tunnel put aside for the day.
I mean, this is just a great landmark. We've still got quite a way to go, but we've tunnelled under the channel. It's been done. The promoters, the financiers, the engineers, we've done it.
It brings people together, it improves understanding, and it's good for the economies of the whole of Europe. That's not bad for one day's achievement.
The euphoria of the party atmosphere, celebrating a great event, was very infectious. When, of course, all this is over tomorrow, there'll be another job to do and the tunnel digging will have to go on. But for the moment, this is one of the best parties I've been to. When the train carrying the two breakthrough tunnellers and the VIPs arrived at the British side, formalities were reimposed. Even the Transport Secretary had to have his passport stamped because he'd been in France, if only in the French part of the tunnel. Lawrence McGuinty, ITN, in the Channel Tunnel.
Labour has accused the government of still being in disarray over Europe, despite a new face at number 10. The deputy leader, Roy Hattersley, poured scorn on John Major's plan for a new document outlining the government's policy on economic and monetary union.
The Majors, minus a son, paraded outside their own comparatively modest home in Cambridgeshire rather than go to Chequers, the Prime Minister's official 1,000-acre country estate. Smiles all round, and with reporters excluded, there were no awkward questions on policy, as he prepares to lead a party still breathless from the leadership battle and in search of a policy on Europe which will unite them. Labour today rubbished the Prime Minister's proposal to prepare a new paper on the government's approach to monetary union.
There's no way that the Conservative Party can be united over Europe. They have at one extreme people who are Europeans before they're British, and at the other people who are little Englanders who won't play the proper part in Europe, the proper part which is best for the British people. They're two irreconcilable extremes in the Tory party. And what we're likely to see is a fudge.
And he's convinced the Tories' lead in the opinion polls won't last long.
I think it's a blip, and I think it's a blip which will disappear shortly after Christmas, even if it lasts that long.
Meanwhile, in Dulwich, while there was no sign of Mrs. Thatcher, her husband Dennis set off with a shopping list and an empty basket to get the weekend's groceries. Shortly afterwards, the man who said for some years to relish the prospect of his wife retiring returned relaxed and smiling, his basket full. Mark Webster, ITN, Westminster.
A former UDR soldier has been shot dead and his wife seriously injured while visiting the site of their new home in Kilrea, County Londonderry. The gunman drove off after the attack but then did a U-turn and came back to shoot his victim a second time.
The former UDR man and his wife were visiting the site of their new home, which he'd been building himself, when a gang of gunmen opened fire. Bertie Gilmore died instantly. His wife Annie was seriously hurt and is undergoing emergency surgery. As police and army sealed off the scene, his daughters were comforted by a neighbour.
The two of them are obviously shattered, as to be expected. Everybody that I've been talking to around here is shattered because Bertie was he was a very well-known character in the area, and everybody just finds it hard to believe that he's dead.
The gunmen fled from the scene and then returned there and opened fire a second time, whilst a local nurse was giving Mrs. Gilmore first aid. The nurse wasn't hurt, but her car was rammed in the second getaway. Police are puzzled as to why the gunmen returned to the scene to open fire again on their victims. It was a close-range attack, and the man and woman were almost certainly hit in the first burst of gunfire. Jonathan Munro, ITN, in County Londonderry.
The government's chief medical officer, Sir Donald Aitchison, has warned that women mustn't be complacent about the risk from AIDS. He's urged women who think they may be at risk to come forward to be tested. His warning came as demonstrators marched to Downing Street to mark World AIDS Day.
Sir Donald Aitchison used a visit to London Lighthouse, the AIDS Counselling and Help Centre, to stress his message that choice of sexual partner should determine whether women as well as men should take an HIV test.
People who have had unprotected vaginal intercourse with a stranger, particularly if that person has been at risk, himself or herself, in respect of being a drug abuser, or in those parts of the world where the prevalence of the infection is high.
He's also concerned by studies indicating that many women don't believe that AIDS is likely to affect them. It's a belief that staff at London Lighthouse are keen to dispel.
I do hope that young women will not wait until they are personally affected by HIV, either by finding that they've contracted it themselves or by finding that they have a friend who's contracted it. That won't be a surprise by the year 2000. At the moment, people are surprised when they hear about a woman with HIV.
Others marked World AIDS Day in noisier fashion as they marched through London to highlight the plight of women affected by the disease. In London, 1 in 2,000 women are tested HIV positive. It's a figure both the government and protesters fear will rise steadily during the next decade. James Forlong, ITN, Central London.
Now with news of today's soccer and the rest of the sport, here's Giles Smith.
We start with football, and with Liverpool playing Arsenal tomorrow, this afternoon provided a chance for the chasing pack of clubs to gain ground in the First Division. Kerry Dixon's first league goal since September helped Chelsea foil third-place Spurs' hopes of closing the gap. But Chris Fairclough and Carl Schutt both scored in the opening 10 minutes as fifth-place Leeds kept up their good run with a win over Southampton. Crystal Palace, in fourth place this morning, are third tonight after beating Coventry 2-1. Palace went ahead after 18 minutes, McGoldrick's free kick being nodded on by Ian Bright. Coventry might have levelled it when Regis's header came back off the bar to a very relieved Martin. In the second half, Coventry worked frantically for the equaliser, Borrow's long shot being the nearest of a number of good chances. But then they, or David Speedy, really threw it away when he got himself sent off for arguing with the referee about a yellow card. Almost immediately, Palace took advantage as Ian Wright's clever back heel gave Andy Gray the chance to make it 2. 3 minutes from time, Regis got a consolation score for Coventry, but it just hadn't been their day. In Scotland, Ali McCoist netted his 4th goal in 5 games as league leaders Rangers hammered struggling Hearts. In Rugby League's Regal Trophy, the first-round draw threw Hull and Widnes, the league's 2 top clubs at the moment, against each other. Jonathan Davis was man of the match as Widnes won 24-16.
After the drama of the Test Series, Rugby League returned to the routine business of domestic competition. Yet the league's 2 top teams made this anything but a dull encounter. Hull shocked the game's aristocrats with 2 early tries, the second from Nolan. But at 10-0 down, Widnes woke up and began to run the game. John Devereux, one half of Wigan's Welsh Mafia, ploughed down the wing for 2 consecutive touchdowns. And then the godfather himself, Jonathan Davis, set off on a run which left half the Hull defence for dead. Devereux pointed the way, and Davis took it in for a memorable try. Into the second half, Martin Afire turned his marker inside out to push Widnes further ahead. Yet even then, Hull almost pulled back to level it. Mackey dodging over to bring his team within 4 points of Widnes. And minutes later, the key moment of the match, the Hull pack herring through, and the lone figure of Davis somehow surviving. It probably saved the game. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport, Norton Park.
In racing, Desert Orchid was convincingly beaten in the Tingle Creek Chase at Sandown. The nation's favourite racehorse drew another huge crowd of admirers for his second outing of the season with new jockey Graham Bradley. For a while, his famous jumping style kept him at the front, but halfway round, his young challengers took advantage of the huge amount of weight he was giving them, and by the last, he was well beaten. Martin Pipe's Sabin du Loir seemed to have the advantage, but young Snugfit was strongest at the line to give Jamie Osborne his second big win in a week.
And that's the news this evening. ITN bulletins continue through the night, but from all of us on the weekend team, a very good evening to you.
Now the Tories have dropped Mrs. Thatcher, why should anyone vote Labour? I'll be interviewing Roy Hattersley, Labour's deputy leader, on Sunday at 1:10 on ITV.
Good evening. There's been some bitterly cold weather in central parts of Europe today. Temperatures struggling to get above freezing in parts of northern France, Germany and Belgium, with the UK sitting in the middle of the high pressure, getting off fairly lightly, some places creeping up as high as 8 degrees this afternoon. So I hope they bung that tunnel up with something tonight, or there'll be a frightful draft. Back to tonight's weather in more detail then. A cloudy picture really, not very much happening. A few spots of rain further north there, but most places just overcast and dry. Where the clouds do break up for a while, then there may well be one or two mist and fog patches forming, and there the temperatures could dip just below freezing too, so take care on the roads, but most places, as you can see, will stay on the right side of freezing. For tomorrow then, a day very much like today, a lot of cloud around and very little sunshine. I think during the afternoon, most places just catching the odd glimpse of the sun. Mostly cloudy though, and the fog picking up from the north there for a few spots of rain too, but most of that right on the northwestern tip of Scotland. Now the temperatures for tomorrow, well, it's a day very much like today there too. The highest temperatures of all are up in the north there, temperatures of around 10, that's up as high as 50, but you'll have to pay for that with fairly strong winds, I think, quite a strong southwesterly breeze right the way through the day. For the rest of us, temperatures are nearer 6 or 7, and 7 is only 45, but we have got lighter winds down in the south. There's the sunset times then for tomorrow evening, and I'll leave you now with a summary of what's in store for the next 24 hours and probably the next few days.
The rest of the night will be dry with a good deal of cloud and a light westerly wind. A few breaks are likely here and there, but temperatures will fall no lower than 1 degree centigrade, 34 Fahrenheit, and ground frost will be confined to just a few places. Tomorrow will also be dry. All districts will have another mostly cloudy day, and any sunny intervals will be brief. Westerly winds will remain light, and the temperature will gradually climb to a maximum of 7 degrees centigrade, that's 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, that's the forecast. This is the summary for tomorrow. A look at the rest of tonight's viewing here on Yorkshire. At 11 o'clock, we begin a series of programmes to mark World AIDS Day, when a young American woman gives her account of what it's like being a sufferer. And that's followed by one of the first films ever to deal with the subject, An Early Frost. At 1:20, art critic Charles Champlin explores the impact that AIDS has had on the Hollywood community. These are the programmes for later tonight here on Yorkshire.
At night I dream of many things, some of which I plan and save for, some of which I achieve. When I was young, I wanted to see Africa, to run away. And so I traveled, but never left. My dream changed. I became us, became a family. And while dazzling things dazzle me still, my values hold dear other dreams. My home, my daughter's freedom to be, to achieve. My life with the men I still love. Simple dreams I dream. At night, during the day.
Charlie Brown's, we've got everything for your car, whether you're looking for a battery, some new tyres, or a complete exhaust system. Charlie Brown's have them, plus a huge range of parts and accessories. In fact, Charlie Brown's have everything to make your car feel brand new.
You make me feel brand new.
On Monster Munch, Square Crisps, Quavers and Cheetos, Smiths are now giving an extra 20% absolutely free. Eat more, but don't pay more.
I put a nickel in the telephone and dial my baby's number. Got a busy line. Each time I tried, I got a busy tone and not my baby's number. Just a busy line.
If your business depends on being in the right place at the right time, remember Cellnet's the network with the most available lines.
Busy kissing someone else while I was keeping busy getting a brr, 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 busy line.
With Cellnet, you're busy, not a phone.
You'd have to go a long way to beat this ratting here, Jeeves.
About as far as the local wine merchant.
Croft Original. One instinctively knows when a gift is right. Napolina, grazie.
Sunday at 7:15.
Oh, Coronation Street's all right. Mind, there's some you'll have to watch. I sometimes wish you were more like them Barlows.
Then at 7:50.
Very agonising travel.
It'll be all right on the night, 6. Then at 9:10, come home Charlie and face them.
Really bust out of this town with enough dough to make the biggest splash you could ever dream of.
A story of lust and greed. Sunday on ITV.
Tonight's Tales of the Unexpected is not as advertised. Roy Marsden recorded this tribute to the memory of its originator, Roald Dahl.
Good evening. Master storytellers are few and far between. Roald Dahl, who died earlier this week, was one of them, one of the truly great ones. Tales of the Unexpected, that greatly loved ITV television series, first brought to the screen in 1979, Dahl's tantalizing, twist-in-the-tail short stories, and they went on to become internationally acclaimed. It all began some 14 years ago at a party when Dahl met Sir John Wolfe, who was then the boss of Anglia Drama, and within 5 minutes the series was born. The rest, as they say, is television history. Tonight we pay tribute to that great storyteller, Roald Dahl, and let's hope wherever he is that he's still smiling, still winking at all of us.